Hey, hello everyone and welcome back to Paranormal Time. Today's video is all over the paranormal. Whether you are a believer or skeptic, there is no denying that the idea of ghost spirits and other supernatural entities has captivated people for centuries. In this video, we'll be searching some of the most compelling evidence for paranormal activity and sharing some of the most chilling stories of ghostly encounters and discussing some of the most popular theories about what lies beyond the realm of understanding. So turn on the light, grab a blanket and get ready to explore the mysterious and often terrifying world of the paranormal time. Let's get started. Today I'm going to tell a story about the Spectral Hill. First an apology if you see any mistakes. As written, I'm reading it. It wasn't yet dawn when I woke up. I raised my gaze to the darkened sky, an angry maze of swirling clouds, smeared with streaks of golden to the east. A cold wind gushed in my ear, wiping a strand of stray black hair across my forehead. I got up, ignoring the waves of fatigue raking my body. A quick look around told me I was on a huge boulder perched preciously atop a hill. I had little memory of how I got there, but that didn't matter. I could work things out as I moved. I took a step forward, but the pain in my chest made me bend over. With my left hand on my knee, I wiped the sweat from my brow and looked up. There was a pink fringe above the standstill that announced the arrival of a new day. I trudged down to the hill slope, one painful step at a time. A straggling band of pine trees gave me company along the way, thinning out as descent, like a drawing voice deep within my mind. The memory of her face came unbidden to me. Elena, so young, so beautiful, so innocent. Ever since I first saw her 13 years ago, I could not tear my eyes away from her countenance. I knew was smitten even before we said our first hi. With apprehension, I had gone up to talk to her. She was flustered that her employer wished to speak to her just one day she had joined. When her lips parted to speak, her voice was soft, the cadence and melodious that I was mesmerized. There had been no looking back since. That was how our story began. It was beautiful beyond words, wild, passionate and full of so much love that it left me breathless every time I met her. Daylight was advancing with haste. The wind had grown to gale so strong that it made the fires in the forest rain. And my long overcoat flapped loudly behind me as I turned on. The bird screeched and wailed above, seeking shelter from the approaching storm. The trail beneath me had gotten wider, now covered with a thick green carpet of dew-laden moss. I walked on my moccasins, a whisper on cobblestones. I heard a bell chiming in the distance heralds the arrival of new day. The sight of the blue-tiled roof in the distance filled me with a familiar twinge of excitement. In a few minutes, I would be home. I imagined the first rays of the sun caressing her cheeks as Elena lay on the bed, smiling softly in her sleep. I could almost see her staring stiffly, a yawn trying to string her nightgown tighter around her waist as she got out of bed and walked down the stairs. The kitchen below demanding her attention. In my mind's eyes, she was beautiful beyond compare. Even after 10 years of marriage, she was still young, still so achingly beautiful that a single look at her was bound to make my heart flutter. I closed the remaining distance between me and my love. The familiar wooden door was locked. I didn't pause to knock. Taking a deep breath, I entered my own house. The sound of pots and plants clanging together greeted me as I walked in. Just as I had hoped, Elena was in the kitchen preparing breakfast. I walked up towards the door and stood in the shadows cast by the curtain fluttering in the wind. I looked at my wife working in the kitchen, unaware of the surprise visit I had planned. Her thick black hair was tied in a massive bun behind her head and starched apron with red geometrical shapes printed on it covered most of her body. Her silk gown clung on soft curves, accentuating her slender figure. Her lips were pursed together, whistling softly. With a bang, I realized it was the tune of the song that I'd played on the day of our wedding. The familiar notes of music made me fall into a trance so deep that I had to make considerable effort to bring myself back to reality. I cleared my throat. Elena turned violently in the direction of the noise, sending flakes of sweat flying in the air. Her eyes met mine. They registered confusion at first, to be slowly replaced by shock. And a moment later, pure terror, she dropped the coffee mug she was holding in her hand, sending it crashing to the floor, shattering into a million shards. Her mouth was wide open. She gasped for air, unable to speak a word. "Hello, dear wife," I said with a smile. She did not greet me, only mumbled a single sentence. The warm kitchen suddenly grew noticeably cold. She held her hands to her head and swung falling into floor with a soft plump. I stepped out of my hiding place, away across the kitchen. My wife had been wounded. She lay there within a helplessness. I passed the kitchen table, my foot glancing against the shard of glass from the broken mug, which made a small cut on my flesh. I paid no heed. My eyes were fixed upon Elena, who struggled now to raise her head a little, saw my slow approach. She made on despite effort, weak and winded as she was, a shaking hand raised in front of her face. She looked up at me. "Thomas, that is my name, Elena," I said. "Now are you going to get up, or do I have to come to you?" The answer she made was incoherent with a deep sigh. I walked right up to where she had fallen. I bared my teeth and fell upon my beautiful wife, and any further sounds she made were swiftly subdued. My wife's blood ran down my neck and torso in small rivulets as I stepped out of the house. I walked a sweaty cup across the height to stains from the city fog bustling over the streets. Elena had been loving, she had been beautiful and compassionate, and now Elena was dead. Breathing in a huge lungful of the morning air, I ambled on. I had no clear destination in my mind, but to my surprise I realized that my feet were leading me back up to the hill from where I had only just descended. It makes sense. I thought to end my journey where it had begun. I stuffed my hands in my pocket and walked upon terrain, ignoring the protest of my aching body. I would rest at the top of the boulder again, I kept repeating to myself to egg my drained self on. I pictured Elena's bleeding face, and the thought gave me strength to keep walking. The past 13 years of my life that I had spent with my wife had been perfect. She was an understanding partner, a passionate lover, and she never gave me any reason to complain. She had colored up my world like no other woman had even come close to. Life was song for me, until it all came crashing down last night. I was away on an official trip to inspect possible location to set up future restorers in. My trip was cut short due to a storm in Taiwan. I had to return home 2 days earlier than either of us had expected, stating that I would get to see my wife so soon. I flew back, lavishing on chocolates and flowers to bring home to my beautiful wife. When the cab from the airport dropped me home, it was 7:30. I imagined Elena to be in the kitchen preparing dinner for myself. I was about to ring the doorbell when I realized that the front door was slightly ajar. Rubbing my chin in puzzlement, I mused that it was quite unlike her to be so careless. Was it possible that she was expecting someone then? So there you have it, folks. A glimpse into the mysterious and often terrifying world of the paranormal time. Whether you were a believer or skeptic, There is no denying the enduring fascination that people have with ghost spirits and other supernatural entities. We hope you enjoyed this video and that it has left you with some new insights and perspective on this intriguing topic. As always, thank you for watching and we will see you in the next one. Until then, stay healthy, stay tuned. See you in the next episode. Good night.